Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 21 of the Fourth and Long podcast. I am, of course, your host, Ross, joined once again by Jalen. Thanks for joining us this week, Jalen.
Yeah, how's it going?
So, if, of course, as we all know, over the last week, there's been some big time news coming out of the sports world, and we will get to that at the end of this show. I made the decision that we'll talk about that last as our send off for this week. But Jalen, um, we're going to get into things, and one of the best parts from this weekend was that both the NHL and the NFL had their All Star games. The NHL had their All
Gotta
Star
love it.
weekend, and the NFL Pro Bowl has been doing stuff all week. They had the skills competition on Thursday, then they had the Pro Bowl on Sunday. And as
Yeah,
a
no, it
whole,
was exciting.
they're both good, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, they were good. I mean, the NFL is kind of gotten to the point where it's like you don't really expect like a crazy football game
no, but
anymore.
if it's
So I
good,
think
it's a
for
good
what it is
surprise.
now, yeah, for what it is now, it was good.
Exactly. Started off with the NHL All Star game because that's what happened first. One of the
Yup.
funniest things is so, of course, most of you guys probably are not hockey fans, but for those that are, of course, we know that the Flames, Calgary Flames, Matthew Chuck, and the Oilers, Leon Draisaitl, are in a bit of a rivalry, to say the least. Recently, they've been having physical altercations on the ice. They've been trading blows. They've been trying to kill each other, and they absolutely cannot stand one another. And of course, this weekend they were on the same All Star team.
Amazing.
Their interviews were gold. You never saw them together. And one of the best parts is that Matthew Tkachuk during the first game for the Pacific Division when they're going against the Central, Tkachuk assisted on a Draisaitl goal, and they did not celebrate. They didn't even look in each other's direction, and that has to be one of the most awkward post goal celebrations, if we're going to even call it
If you want
that,
to even call it that.
right? But it was pretty damn funny to watch, especially if you know the backstory behind all that.
Yeah, no, it was hilarious.
It's good, and that's one of the weird things is that you have teams like the Sharks, who absolutely hate the Los Angeles Kings, absolutely despise the Las Vegas Golden Knights, but yet during All Star games like this, they have to play together.
They have to play
They
together.
have to play on the same
Hilarious.
line. They have to try to set each other up for goals, and that has to be one of the funniest things to watch, to be honest. But especially if that Sharks and Kings, and now more than anything, the Sharks and Knights rivalry is it's violent. They literally fight each other almost every time. Me and Jalen were in person for a
Every
game,
game.
and Ryan Reeves, trying to start something all the time. Yeah, Vander Kane always trying to start something with Ryan Reeves, and
Yep.
it's really
Yep.
entertaining, of course. But that All Star Weekend has to be a tad awkward for stuff like that, especially such a personal rivalry against these two players.
Yeah, no, it definitely is funny to see stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they hate each other and then they assist on a goal, and you're like, oh, maybe this is the moment for reconciliation.
Nope.
And they're like, fuck you.
That's the opposite of what happened. We had one of the things I did not like though was that I might sound like a homer, so take it with a grain of salt if you must. But I'm right, and it doesn't matter if I'm a Sharks fan or not. I am right on this. And Tomas Hurdle, even though the title of All Star MVP might not seem all that important to a lot of people, he, if you deserve it, you deserve it. And Tomas Hurdle got robbed, absolutely robbed this weekend, because he should have been the All Star MVP. He had 4 goals in the first game. He had a natural hat trick. For those that don't know what a natural hat trick is, that's when you score a hat trick is when you score 3 goals in one game. A natural hat trick is when you score 3 straight goals in that game. Tomas got a natty hattie in the All-Star game to come back down from 3-0. He also had a goal in the second game, which was the game winner for the Pacific. Tomas finished the night with 5 goals. I believe he had 6 points. But you want to know who wins the MVP? That is the Bruins' David Pastrnak. He wins MVP with of course a good performance of 4 goals and 6 points. That's nothing to knock on. But his team didn't even make it out of the first round to the finals. He only puts up 4 goals, and he still wins MVP. How does that make sense? You want to know how it does make sense, Jalen? East Coast bias
Go ahead.
Boston bias.
In my opinion, I think the NHL is hating on the Sharks and the Knights.
Yes.
This is my...
Yes, that is, of course, what's happening. Screw the NHL for dissing on them like that, man. That's just uncalled for. If you want to be that clearly biased against something like that and for a team like the Bruins, a little disrespectful. What's even more disrespectful is that it was a fan vote. The All-Star MVP is a fan vote along with what the NHL thinks as well. They put out a poll on Twitter during the second game. So during the final, they have 4 names up there. Tomas Hertl's name wasn't even one of the 4. Tomas was even top 4 in the MVP race. And it's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's asinine that the NHL has that much disrespect to the Sharks and Tomas Hertl. What'd he do to you guys, man? All he does is smile and be happy and score goals on the Knights in double overtime of Game 6. But
okay, I feel like you're going to live with that. That you're just going to live on that one moment in your life. In Knights news, Patch already scored in the All-Star game also.
Oh, good. But did he score 5 goals and a natty hattie?
Well, somebody had to do it, okay? Not everybody can score that many goals in one game.
And Fleury did even play, which was kind of disappointing to me because he's fun to watch.
Yeah,
but
he is always fun. He always does some wild shit.
Over the NFL Pro Bowl, you had the AFC winning 38-33. It's weird because it seems like the NFC has the better teams, but the AFC, I believe, has won the past 4 Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
AFC dominates. The Broncos are in the better conference for sure than the Cardinals. Cardinals have it easy.
What? Okay, don't lie to yourself at all.
I'm really good at doing that, though. Why wouldn't I?
That was the biggest lie you've ever told on this show.
Okay. I'd put it up top 5. I don't know if it's the biggest.
It's definitely top 5.
Top 5.
I don't know. We'd have to go back. We definitely have
to go back through the footage. But we could agree this
we said a lot of outlandish stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've said quite the... No, they're not outlandish takes, Jalen. They're just bold predictions and hot takes.
We have quite the repertoire of...
See, there's a difference,
big time
in sports talk like this. There's no such thing as saying something stupid. It's just a really, really bold prediction.
Really bold. Tom Brady's going to play 16 more seasons.
That's not stupid. It's just bold. Remember that one, folks. MVP-wise, you had Lamar Jackson and Calais Campbell taking home the offensive and defensive MVP, respectfully. It was a decent Pro Bowl. They had to test out the new onside kick rule that they might be implementing. For those that don't know, and typically the onside kick, you line up at your 35, you kick it 10 yards, you try to hit a little dribbler, hope someone drops it, kick one up, try to catch it on the run. Most time, a onside kick is just a crapshoot, unless of course you're the undisputed GOAT, Young Hoku, kicking 3 successful onside kicks in the same game back on that Thanksgiving.
One
Unreal.
game.
He should have won the MVP.
One man.
Young Hoku is the MVP of the league just for that. But instead of the
Yep.
onside kick, instead you can elect to take the ball at your own 25 and have a 4th and 15, and you have to convert that. And if you convert that 4th and 15, then it's just a normal drive. They tested this out. Yeah, Kirk Cousins go out there. The NFC tried to convert this. Yeah, Kirk Cousins just throw a prayer like 30, 40 yards down the field, and it was picked off.
Hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sure it was Jamal Adams. It might have been Earl Thomas, though. I'm pretty sure it was Jamal Adams, though.
You're correct on that one, buddy.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
Jamal
was
Adams was right there.
cool. I guess.
I think they should stick with what it is.
I don't think it needs to be changed personally. I think that the onside kick is in a good place right now. It's supposed to be a last resort, and it's supposed to be almost impossible to get that unless you have a really reliable kicker and a really reliable kick team. I feel like the NFL is going to move into the territory of giving the offense too much of a chance and giving that team too much of a chance to come back into the game, which is it's good for the NFL because that means games are more competitive and the team is almost never truly out of the game. They have more chances to still come back and win, which is good for viewing, is good for excitement in games, but it's kind of crappy for that team that has been putting the hurt on their opponents, and then their opponents still get all these chances to come back into the game.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of. I don't like it. I kind of feel like it puts it to where you're allowing teams to play bad and kind of lay back, and it's like whatever, we can just keep getting the ball back.
Yeah, let's just wait till the last couple minutes and try.
Because
it's going to be in our favor, which shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, I think it's like. Onside kicks right now, it's like you have to kick an onside kick. It's because the game is on the line. You have to do everything you can, be perfect to get that ball, and then you have to execute a great play to score. I feel like we see teams execute 15-plus yard plays all the time. That's why I feel like that's
way more frequent than onside kick, of course.
It's like, I don't like that. I think they're trying to. Their competition and stuff right now was the AAF and the XFL, and they were all doing these like rules like that. And I feel like the NFL should stick with their rules and let those other leagues do what they do. I feel like they're worrying about the wrong things. I feel like there's a lot of things right now that the NFL needs to work on, like the rules against hits. Like those are terrible.
The NFL
the pass
is
interference
trying to change
terrible.
rules that don't need to be changed. Well, there's rules that need to be changed that they're not looking at, and that's a
not even
big
considering
problem
looking
with the
at
NFL right now. That's one of the biggest things I disagree with, is that their vision for the future is not what's going to be positive for the football game in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about trying to create things and make all these new things. It's about using what you have and refining what you already have and what you already have in place and making those as best as possible before you go adding on this new unnecessary stuff that is just going to take too much time and effort, and it's not even going to pay off in the end.
Yeah. And I feel like when you do stuff like that, I feel like it kind of makes the game kind of like arcadey, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like having the NFL, which is kind of like this.
What was it? What was that one NFL game? It could be NFL Street, but do you remember that one arcade NFL game?
Yeah, it was like NFL Arcade. Yeah,
NFL Jam, or it was something like that. It's not that. We're playing football. This is football. This is a traditional sport with history. It's a 100-year league. Football has been great for decades and decades, and you don't need to go around changing it. Leave that to the XFL.
And that's a big thing to change. That's not.
They're doing a different version of football almost. Leave the NFL the NFL and have the XFL do their thing and see if that works out for them.
And it's like the XFL purposefully did their season after football season, so that we have a form of football to watch after the NFL season.
The XFL is a different product than NFL.
Yeah,
not just
it's
talking
not
about
something I want to
talent.
see all the
I'm
time.
talking about the product as a football game. It's a different game over there in the XFL, and that's that's not a bad thing. It's okay to have a change of pace. We'll see on what that experiment brings. The NFL doesn't need to be experimenting right now. There's no need for them. The XFL does because they have to find a way to stand out and how to get ratings and viewers and
Yeah,
become
it's
a
something new.
popular league that stands the test of time. But the NFL does something and they do it damn well, and they just need to roll with it and see what the XFL does. Keep your own thing going, and just you do you. You do what you do best, and let the XFL do what they might do well, what it might also really fail. So,
We'll find out soon.
yes, we will. And I'm excited for that, of course. But
Me
NFL,
too.
know your role, know the game you produce, and just produce that game to the best of your abilities. That's all.
Don't change
It's
it.
simple. It's simple. But on the back end of this, Jalen, so if we're talking the four main professional sports in America, which is
Hmm.
football, basketball, baseball, and hockey, the NFL has
Yeah.
their skills competition just more newly added to it. They've always had the Pro Bowl. The NBA has always had their skills competition and All Star game. The hockey, the NHL has always had their skills competition and All Star game. And the MLB has always had their home run derby and their All Star game. All of them are
Hmm.
honestly pretty exciting. It's a good thing to watch. It's entertaining. It's fun. But out of
Yeah.
those four, which sport has the best All Star week or weekend?
For me, I'm not even the biggest basket. Like I'm a big basketball fan, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's my favorite sport. But I would have to give it to basketball, just because All Star Weekend's kind of like, since it's not really a like competitive, all out just all stars playing an actual game
Mm-hmm.
with all seriousness. If it was all seriousness, I would give it to football. But since it is kind of just that laid back, we're just having fun playing around doing crazy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to give it to basketball because I feel like basketball is more naturally that laid
It's all
back
about
sport
just
out
the
of all
most
the four.
entertaining product, and basketball does a great
Yeah,
job at providing that. Oh, you make
it's
a good
like in the
point with
NBA game.
that. They always play kind of relaxed. Is what it seems like.
Yeah, it's always kind of like a mess around game. You always end up having like those stars who you never see play against each other.
Mm-hmm.
They get to go against each other. Teams, I mean, players get to try out like some crazy self alley oops and 360 dunks randomly and just stuff like that.
It
It's
helps when
just
no one plays
they can
defense, especially in the All Star game. They play like James Harden does all season. It's great.
on a normal basis. It's like the NBA All Star Weekend is pretty much like a very highly skilled pickup basketball game, and I feel
That's
like
a great
that's
way
what
of
the other
putting
sports
it.
are trying to emulate, but it's not really easily emulated in the other sports.
No.
But that's pretty much what it's supposed to be. It's a very highly skilled um, pickup game, and
Mm-hmm.
even their skill challenges are very
They're
like I
fun,
feel like
yeah.
they
Who
have
doesn't
like the
love
perfect skill
the dunk
challenges,
contest,
like
and who
3 point
doesn't love the
contest.
3 point contest? Those are great, and those
Yeah,
are really fun to watch every year, no matter who's in it.
yeah, and I hope the other sports kind of like find their thing that everyone can enjoy to
Mm-hmm.
where it can be just every single one has pretty great. I feel like a lot of like I don't really think there's really been a bad All Star weekend for NBA in a while. I feel like other other sports are kind of trying to find a middle ground to where players aren't getting hurt and they're not doing all out and
Mm-hmm.
like going crazy, and it's not really working for them yet. And I hope other teams, I mean, other sports can look at basketball, see how they do it, find out how to do it in their sport in a good way, and do it.
That's a good point. If you had to rank them 1 through 4, give me from 4 to 1, or sorry, you already gave us your one. Give me your fourth, third, and second best games or All Star games.
I would say right now, the worst All Star game, I would have to say baseball. Not
Mm.
even, I don't think it's their fault, and it's not saying it's bad,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like there's just, I mean, like the best you can really do in the All Star game is go for like a weird throw or swing for the fences every single play.
Or you say
I
there's
mean,
just not much else
they're
you can
kind of
do differently.
yeah, it's not really much
Okay.
like their thing is really competitive, like oh the best pitchers versus the best hitters,
Mm.
who's gonna do what, but it's still like they're playing around, so it's not even really like there's nothing on the line, and I
Uh-huh.
feel like that's kind of what
I
I
gotcha.
feel like that's what basketball does. Is since even though it's not on the line,
Hmm.
basketball is still exciting. Other sports, it's like I feel like baseball, football, and hockey. If there's nothing on the line for those players, it's
Yeah.
kind of like it's
The
like
only thing on the
whatever.
line for them is a bigger paycheck. I believe that's the thing for
Yes,
every team. Number three then.
yeah. So for baseball, three, I would probably have to go NFL just based off of the.
Then number two, of
It's
course,
kind of
being
like
hockey. Then
whatever. Yeah, two would probably have to be hockey for
hockey
me.
does have a
Yeah,
great.
hockey's kind of funny.
That's the thing for
They
me.
kind of do like some crazy stuff.
Right, personally,
Yeah,
my
go ahead.
favorite weekend for any All Star is the NHL. I really love what they do with that skills competition, and
Hmm.
a big complaint out of what their actual games is that they play really relaxed and slow. But I still think there's a great amount of skill put on. I love the 3-on-3 tournament. So the way they do it, there's four divisions in the NHL. You had the Metropolitan against the Atlantic in round one. Then you have the Central against the Pacific in round two, and then you have the winner of those two games play in a finals, and that determines the winner. I love that. I love the tournament style. I think it's great. You get three
Yeah,
games out of
one
that instead of
thing
just
I
normally
would
just one.
change. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I love that, and there's still a great amount of skill shown on the ice. You see a lot, especially in the 3-on-3s, way more than 5-on-5s. You get a lot of breakaways. You get a lot of 2-on-Os. You get a lot of 2-on-1s, 1-on-Os, and that's when you just see pure shooting skill against pure goaltending skill, and that's a lot of fun to watch. So that would be
yeah.
the reason why hockey's my number one.
The only thing I would change about the NHL is I kind of just because you know all those players are already there and you're playing. I think in the tournament after your team loses, I feel like the two losing teams should play each other.
Play for third.
Yeah, just play for third, so we have like the ranking
I
for
feel it.
the teams going into it. And that's the only thing I would do. I mean, I don't mind how it is now. It's definitely great how it is now.
Yeah.
And if they don't change it, I really won't be disappointed. But
No.
I just think it's like the players are already there, and if
Mm.
they want to, I feel like you might as well just
Yeah.
have like
Hey, that
a
if they
game.
are willing, that would be interesting. My least favorite All
Yeah,
Star game is it's funny because it's my favorite sport, but my least favorite All Star game is the Pro Bowl. It's just not good anymore.
yeah,
As a kid, I used to be so excited for the Pro Bowl. See them put on those red jerseys and their blue jerseys in Hawaii, in and then just go at it. You had Sean Taylor decapitating punters. You had people playing all out. You had people actually playing football and looking like they wanted to be there. And now it's still fun to see the players out there do their thing, but it just doesn't feel competitive. My third favorite
yeah. It's kind of like two
is
in touch.
right. My third is the weekend might be basketball. That may be just because, admittedly, I'm not a huge basketball fan. I enjoy the sport. I really respect the sport for what it is. Don't get me wrong, but I find a lot of fun in the slam dunk contest, in the 3-point contest, but the All Star game itself just isn't as entertaining to me. Of course, that is because I'm not a huge basketball fan, admittedly, but that's just my personal preference.
Yeah,
That's understandable. But number
yeah.
two,
It's definitely understandable.
I really like I like the baseball All Star Weekend because I love the home run derby. I watched that so much as a kid, and it was one of my favorite things every year. And it's still really good. Who doesn't love seeing huge
Hmm.
dudes just rip 20, 30? Vlad I think he might have hit 40 home runs and just hitting bombs, and just the sound of that ball off the barrel of that bat is just it's perfect. I love it.
My question to you about the baseball All Star Weekend
Hmm.
is do you like the old home run derby rules or the new home run derby rules better?
I like the new ones. The new keeps it really exciting, and there's a lot of action in there, and there's just more opportunity for more home runs, and I think that's the best part about the contest.
Understandable.
Then the game itself is great. I love seeing the matchup. Yeah, the game's best pitching against the game's best hitters, and you can slack off in the Pro Bowl. You can slack off in the NHL game. You can play a little slower in the NBA, not play defense. But all those players in the MLB are trying their asses off during that game. A pitcher doesn't take the night off. He's still throwing his stuff for the 2 or maybe 3 innings that he gets. And I love seeing the sport's best competing at their best. And it's the most competitive game to me, in my opinion. I understand your point. That's the same thing, but that's why it's the same thing. It's the same game, and they're all playing as hard as they can, and they're all hustling, and that's why it's number 2 for me.
Yeah, definitely. If I had to choose one that is most like its normal self on All Star, I'd
Mm-hmm.
definitely go with baseball.
Yep. That was a lot of fun. Definitely the best part in sports about this weekend. But of course, we had to save this for the end. There, the weekend wasn't all good, as we all know. The sports world unfortunately lost one of the greatest legends and icons and players and humans that this earth will ever see. Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna perished along with I believe 7 other people in a helicopter
7 other
accident.
people, yeah.
Yeah, in a helicopter accident. In on Sunday afternoon. Kobe was 41. His daughter Gianna was 13, and I it sucks to talk about this. Honestly, I didn't think because Kobe, everyone knows Kobe, and everyone knows the great competitor that he is, and great person that he is, a great dad, great husband, and I didn't think that someone like this, that losing someone like this, would have this kind of impact on me. Like a lot of celebrity deaths, they don't bother me, but Kobe was different, man. I still can't believe that this happened. I remember I was just sitting in bed. I was working on the show actually, for a couple of videos, and my boy Blake texts me. And he says, "You see the news about Kobe?" I said, "What? What? Did he win another award?" Then I immediately go on Twitter, and I'm just scrolling through my feed, and there's just all these reports, and I didn't believe it at first. I really didn't because I saw a couple tweets from TMZ. I was like, "Nah, this is fake. It's just some TMZ bullshit that they like to pull." And I just kept on refreshing, and refreshing, and refreshing, and there's just 4 more tweets every time the page would load about this, and it's real, and it sucks,
Yeah.
and I'm still in a state of shock. I had no words for what I was feeling yesterday. It I honestly just kind of was staring at Twitter for like an hour, just not moving, and because I didn't know what to do, I didn't know what to say, I didn't know how to feel, I didn't know how to react or respond to this absolutely devastating, just out of nowhere news, and
Mm,
it's awful. It's one of the worst. It might be. It's the worst sports tragedy that has happened in our lives, so far.
definitely.
It might be one of the biggest, easily one of the biggest ones of all time, just based on the impact that Kobe Bryant had not only on the NBA but on the world itself. Kobe Bryant was a man that inspired thousands and thousands of people. He's a man that is from Philadelphia, but it really feels like Los Angeles is his home. That man, Kobe Bryant, is LA. He is the Los Angeles Lakers. He is arguably the NBA itself. Kobe Bryant
Yeah.
was one of the greatest basketball players we'll ever know. And of course, it's awful in this feeling that we all feel in the sports community. And thank God that I'm feeling this. I can't imagine What's running through the minds of Kobe's family, his really close friends. Yeah, Shaq and Shaq's son Sharif, and everyone close to him. I can't even fathom what they're going through at this moment. My thoughts and prayers of
Yeah.
are going to be with them, of course. Um,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
it's unreal, but the thing is the way Kobe was and the way person he was. I don't think that he would want us dwelling on his loss, but more we need to celebrate the man that Kobe Bryant was, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to move past this. We're feeling like shit right now, but Jalen, I want to spend this last portion of the show just talking on how great Kobe Bryant
Yeah.
was, not only
Yeah,
as
before we do that, though,
yes,
I just wanted to talk about the. I'm not really a big on whatever the news, whatever you guys do what you got to do. It's your job.
mm-hmm,
But when I saw that TMZ announced Kobe and his daughter and those other 7 people on the plane dying, and I found out that his family hadn't even been informed yet before TMZ posted it. I just think that's disgusting.
you're kidding
I
me. I didn't
don't
even
think you
know
should be
that.
allowed to do that. I think it should be illegal. Um, that I can imagine finding out somebody that close to me had passed away just because I was watching TV or my phone just going off, and it's a notification from TMZ, and that's the way you find out. I I was just I'm not really a big fan of TMZ in the first place. Uh,
No.
I'm not really a fan of news outlets mostly
Mm-hmm.
in the first place, just based off their lack of human decency.
Mm-hmm.
But this one really hit home because it was your a husband, a father, uncle, brother to a lot of people, father figure to a lot of young men and grown men at this point. And his own family couldn't have the decency to find out and trying to console themselves before everyone else finds out.
You
They
should
have
even
to
find
find
out
out.
through a tweet.
No, you shouldn't.
That shouldn't
That
be a
that
thing, and
call
we shouldn't even have to actually say this in the first place.
that should be a normal human reaction to know. You should wait. And I'm glad the sheriff who ended up announcing it. I'm glad he trashed TMZ for saying it.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve to be trashed. That is a terrible thing to do.
That's when people do
That
that just
is.
for money and clicks.
It's not like they didn't know that the family didn't know. They did it on purpose.
Right.
They wanted to be the first to announce it because of they wanted
They want
to
the fame.
views
They want yeah.
and fame and it's just it's irritating.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this should shine light on the fact that how disgusting a lot of people in news are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to talk about some of the other stuff that happened with news people.
Yep.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, I do.
Um,
We will need that
but
kind of stuff on our
it,
show.
I just, that's the one thing I had to get out the way
Thank you,
is
Jalen.
that
Yes.
is terrible and it should change.
But let's move on to the positive, okay? First off,
Yeah.
I just want to talk about the uncanny amount of stats that Kobe Bryant accumulated during his 20-year career in the NBA. I'm just going to run through this, okay? Forgive
Go
me if
ahead.
I take a few minutes. 18-time All-Star, 4-time All-Star MVP. Kobe Bryant is a 5-time NBA champ with 2 Finals MVPs. A 12-time All Defensive Player of the year. He was Rookie of the Year in 96-97 season. In 07-08, he was the league MVP. He is a 2-time NBA scoring champ. He's 15-time All NBA player, and he is 4th all-time in scoring. It, that's a lot, man. Kobe, if you want to talk about
That
someone that got
is a
trophies and
lot.
awards, also if we want to throw on this list, Kobe is also a Oscar award winner.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's resume is a mile long.
And he's
It's
pretty freaking funny. I don't know if you guys have seen those commercials he did with like Kanye and stuff like that. He's like, how many more records can my records break?
More
He's like,
records.
more records. And then he was like, but
Oh,
I'm the best. He's like, yeah, but are you a different beast and
with
the
the same.
same animal? Or the flip flop. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember
That no, that
exactly
was
the
it.
way it went,
The
but
fuck did that mean, Kobe Bryant?
man, what the fuck does that mean, Kobe Bryant? That is one of my
Kobe
favorite
Bryant
videos.
was he was yeah the great sense of humor. That's for damn sure. Oh,
And he spoke
I've
multiple
watched that
languages.
commercial probably like 10 times today, dude. It's so funny. That's the thing I like
That
too.
is,
I don't
it's
like watching
hilarious.
all the sad news and stuff. I went on my way to watch the best moments of Kobe. Those funny commercials. Him talking about his daughter. Him. One of my favorite interviews was him with Chris Collinsworth talking about the first time he got his Team USA jersey for the Olympics and what that meant to him. And
Hmm.
you can't dwell on the sad parts. So I'm gonna watch the great parts about Kobe and
Yeah.
why he inspires me and countless other people. Not only
Yeah.
those stats only say half the story really. Um, Kobe Bryant is the most hard-headed in a good way. I mean that in a good way. He's the most battle worn. He's just the most
Dedicated.
dedicated, hardworking. If there's one word I can use to describe Kobe Bryant, that is the word tenacity. Kobe Bryant
Yeah.
is the epitome of tenacity. Look him up in dictionary, you get a picture. Look up tenacity in dictionary, you get a picture of Kobe Bryant. Mamba mentality
Yeah.
wasn't just something he said. He lived every single second of his life by it.
As an example.
That guy was an idol in terms of what it means to hard work. If you want to talk about the hardest workers all time, Kobe's up there, top three, probably along Jerry Rice is one of the others. There's no other person. Kobe Bryant might have gone outplayed a couple times, but there's no way in hell that anyone was ever outworking Kobe Bryant. No,
At all.
Kobe Bryant, he also might have had one of the best retirements in the history of professional sports. Here, this is a guy that went out with a 60-point performance in his last game as a Laker.
Yeah.
That, that's
That's how you
ridiculous,
go
right?
out.
And he hit a game winner in that one as well. You
Yeah.
you
That
couldn't
is
make up. That was
that
one
is
of the
crazy.
greatest go home performances. One of the greatest retirement performances
Definitely.
of all time. You had
Yeah.
and one of my favorite things about it is that a lot of the guys are forced to retire, injuries, just getting worn
Hmm.
down over time. A lot of people don't choose to retire. Kobe Bryant chose to retire for the NBA. That last game showed he
After
still
a
had
long
it.
career. Not
Yeah,
even early.
no, he had a great career. He's long lasting, but that last game, putting him 60, showed that Kobe Bryant could still play high quality basketball. But he was content
Definitely.
with himself. He was content with the career that he put together, and he was able to leave the game he loved on his own terms, and he changed that sport for the better. He impacted so many new players, and Kobe his impact is unmeasurable, and
Yeah.
that's one of the greatest things about him is that everyone should aspire to leave some sort of lasting impact on this world, and Kobe Bryant
Yeah,
did
definitely.
just that, and he is
Yeah.
an absolutely amazing man, and he will always be remembered. If it's from
My
us watching
my
old games of him,
go
if
ahead.
it's just from simple things of us like yelling Kobe when we throw something into the trash can.
I still yell Kobe whenever I throw something. I've always
Who
done that.
doesn't yell Kobe when they throw something into the trash can?
I don't care if it's a football, basketball,
It
baseball,
doesn't matter what it
trash,
is.
clothes.
Especially now, I will always make sure if I'm throwing something somewhere, I will yell Kobe.
Just Kobe.
Let
Definitely.
his
And my,
legend
my
live
favorite
on
thing
through small things
about
like
Kobe,
that or from large memorials. But Kobe's legend and
yeah,
impact on the world will live on for eternity.
Yeah, my favorite thing about Kobe,
Yeah.
and I think should be a very big thing for everybody, is after all the records Kobe's broken, after all the crazy game winners and comebacks and awards and just sports moments, the thing he was most proud of was being a father.
Yes.
That
Yes.
and I think that's beautiful. Like it's not like he was just like a successful businessman who just happened to get by and start his own business. This man
He was a
is
dad
looked at as
first.
one of the best of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And the most biggest smile I've ever seen Kobe was when he was referred to as Gianna's dad.
Yeah.
He smiled so big at that time. Not saying MVP or All Star or best basketball player of all time. When he was referred to as Gianna's dad was the biggest I've ever seen Kobe smile. And I feel like that is an example for generations to come, the generation now, generations before, is just cherish your family, and while working hard and doing what you love is good, always cherish the people around you, and be happy. Like if you're not happy with the people around you, it's really hard to be happy with life. And if you're in a stupid argument with somebody that you care about or anything like that right now, or just anything you're in a disagreement, just get over it. Apologize. I don't care if you didn't do it. Apologize. It's reconcile a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Say hi. Text somebody.
Call someone.
Check up on people.
Tell your family you love
Call
them.
someone. Tell people you love them. You never know.
Man,
And just be a decent human being.
mhm.
All that, all that being edgy and saying stuff just to for fame and just being rude just to be rude because you think it's funny. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's time to that we all grow up, and I think Kobe was a perfect example of that.
It, we're gonna wrap things up here, guys. But if I'm gonna end this show with, I just want to say that the tragedy of what happened yesterday is just an even bigger demonstration of the fact that we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We all viewed Kobe Bryant as this immortal legend who could never die, who could never get hurt, and he was. We all thought he was going to live forever. And then, in the matter of a couple minutes, he was taken from this earth along with his daughter Gianna. And I think more than anything now, it's to live life by that Mamba mentality. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. Yesterday, it's in the past. All we can do is take life one step at a time, dominate whatever we are doing at that moment, put our whole focus and just focus on
Whatever
the
you
task in
love,
hand. Do what you love. Do what you're passionate about. Do something and do it well and give it your 100%. That's all Kobe ever did. That's all he ever will do. That's all he ever will do in his one-on-ones with Wilt up there in heaven right now. Um, but don't live life with the regrets. Take everything one step at a time and just do what you do best and you do it well and you give it everything and you just dedicate your life to being the best version of yourself and making the present the best it could possibly be, because past is in the past and we're not guaranteed tomorrow, and that's why we need to make the most out of the time we have today. Thank you guys for joining us on another edition of the Fourth and Long podcast. We hope that you enjoyed this. We hope that you like and subscribe, follow us on Twitter, but most importantly, rest in peace, Mamba.